Hi there, and welcome to another episode of African Business Stories, your insight into female innovators and entrepreneurs building and running businesses in Africa. My name is Akego Okoye, and on the show today, I'll be chatting with Amal Hassan, founder and CEO of Outsource Global, a leading business process outsourcing company in Nigeria, serving clients on 4 continents. Amal set up the first IT training center in Kano. She successfully trained hundreds of people and realized that there was an even bigger problem. There were no jobs. The creation of jobs and empowerment of her people became her driving force. Let's get into it. Hi, Amal. Welcome to African Business Stories.
Hi, Akego. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Very well. So, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So as a young girl, when I was in high school, history was my best subject. And I was so fascinated with the ancient empires and ancient kingdoms in Nigeria, Kano being one of them. And I know that you were born and raised in Kano. So I was just wondering what it was like growing up in such an ancient and historic city.
Yeah, thank you very much again for having me. I think growing up, I was born and brought up, yes, in Kano from a traditional Fulani, I can call it House of Fulani home. It's actually a very large family of 28 children.
Wow.
And yes, my father had 3 wives. One died shortly after I was born. And we are kind of a very close family setting where the tradition, the Hausa and Fulani tradition is, and the Islamic religious is instilled on us, but also education is something that is very, very important for our father. He was the Grand Kadi of Kano, very well educated. He has a doctorate degree. My father's name is Dr. Hassan Gwarzo, so he promotes education in the north, not only in Kano. So you can imagine that his children will be educated in both the Western education and the Islamic education. So I was brought up in that setting, and each and every one of us, both males and females, are educated. I have sisters that are doctors, lawyers, engineers, from all, kind of profession. So this is the kind of environment that I was brought up.
Interesting. So I know that you went to a federal government college. We call them unity schools. For people who are not familiar with these types of schools in Nigeria, they're schools where they try to bring people from different parts of the country together. Boarding school system where you interact with people from the south and all that. And I know you went to one of such schools, and I wonder what that experience was like for you.
Yeah, I think it was a very, very great experience for me. So before my set within our family, we have sets. As you know, we are a large family. All my other sisters went to a missionary school, that is St. Louis Missionary School. So our father made sure at that time that we all went to the best schools. And then the next set, which started from me, was we went to federal school. So I have some elder brothers that went to FGC Kano, and I went to FGC Kazori. And actually, I keep on telling people is one of the things that was great about Nigeria at that time, because it promotes unity. We have one of my very good friends is Igbo, and I found out from that I have this connection to the Igbo people, and from that time I understood the Igbo culture, I understood the Yoruba culture from the Unity School. Being friends with someone is not based on you're from the same place, is based on probably your value system or your interests are aligned. So your the conference based on that, not because of your religion or your. I remember then we used to go to the mosque, and my friend Chidima, used to hold my bag while I entered the mosque, and she wait for me inside. And I used to go with her and our other friend Lillian to church, and we used to, during occasions, and I used to hold their bag and wait for them and things like that. So it was really very beautiful setting, the Unity school setting. Whoever created it is thought really well about Nigeria's unity,
Yeah.
and it's really something that promotes understanding between and tolerance between cultures and religions, which is something that we are losing now in Nigeria, and something that should be looked at critically
Yeah.
from that, from that age, because that is the age where you form yourself, you
Hmm.
form your values. I enjoyed secondary school. I still I still dream about it. We really had fun. It
Right.
was of course, it was a difficult period where you fetch water and things like that. But the kind of knowledge and understanding that and education that you have is not just books. It's
Right.
also you got educated about other cultures, what they want, what they believe, how their households are. My friends' parents will come visiting her. We'll all go and sit with them and see how they behave among themselves, how
Hmm.
expressive Igbo people are when it comes to showing love to their children, which was really something in the North that, we really don't portray well. And this is something that we just learned at that time, and we see different cultures. And sort of at that time, I used to be wowed about what their school setting and how they treat each other, how their mother is very expressive when it comes to the way she's expressing love, which in Hausa, in our own tradition, a child is supposed to be a child of the society. So the mother is not usually the one that shows direct love,
Right.
the other people in the society are the ones that will show love to the child mostly. So you find out that you learn a lot from that, and it's something that is really missing in Nigeria.
Hmm. So have you been to the East? Are you still friends with Chidinma today?
Yeah, we're still friends, not the way we were before. I have other Igbo friends. I've made so many other Igbo friends. My two business partners are Igbo.
Okay.
We have businesses in the South, and I go to the South a lot. I've been to Nsukka.
Wow.
I've been to Abakiliki. I've been to Enugu. I've been to so many places in the South that right now I can't think of. Uh, I've been to Isikwatu. I was named
Wow.
Hajia of Isikwatu during my business partner's mother's burial ceremony. So we are quite very close partners. Our families are very close. I'm close with his wife and mother. His mother, my business partner's mother, named me Adama. That is her first daughter.
Yes.
So it's really good.
Oh, that's lovely. I'm from Nsukka, so I'm glad to hear that you've been to my town. I need to come to
Yeah.
Kano so that yeah, I need to do that. So yeah, that's a very interesting story, and I must agree and with your description of Unity schools. I also went to a Unity school, and I still feel the impact of it today with the friendships that we made then. So going back to your story, so you finished secondary school, and I understand that you wanted to study medicine and
Yeah.
applied to university to study medicine, but then they asked you to come and study business administration.
Yes. When you are choosing your subject during WAEC, they will always tell you to pick economics as a backup, sort of.
Right.
So I was a complete science student with all the science subjects. I was very good in all of them. I loved chemistry, physics, biology. Uh, but when I finished secondary school and I applied, for medicine. That was the plan for me to be a medical doctor. And I felt at that time that I would have been a very good medical doctor, or, but BUK did not give me medicine. So because of the economics that I have passed among my YA courses, they said they could give me business admin. And at that time, I was just told to collect it because otherwise I will have to wait another year uh, and then reapply. So I took business admin without actually knowing what to do with it. But now I understand God's plan towards my life
Right.
because I being a businesswoman and have applied. Well, I went back to do my master's because I didn't really concentrate throughout university. so I think sometimes you have your own plan, but God will have a better plan for you.
Right.
So I finished the business admin. So by the time I finished, I got married at the first year of college.
Okay.
I had my daughter towards the end of the first beginning of the first semester of year two. And by the time I finished, I have two kids. I've already given birth to my
Wow.
second my son, and my first child is a daughter. And then, so when I finished, I didn't know what to do with my life. My husband keeps on asking me, "What do you want to do with your life?" And I keep on telling him, "I don't know. I don't know." So I did, when I finished, just to while away time, I did basic computing skills. I remember that my husband had to pay one Indian who is our neighbor to actually teach me basic computing skills. And by the time I finished, I wanted to do more, but there isn't any organized training center that could give me more. So I got connected to NIT through a very long story, and I studied MCSE, and we came back and set up the first organized training center in Kano, that is NIIT.
Okay, so let me just pause and go back a little. So you got married as you started university. Um,
Yeah, first year.
and I know that because we're African women and culture plays a big role in our daily lives and the choices that we make. It was interesting for me to hear that you finished secondary school, got married. For a lot of women, after they get married, that probably is they just start to raise children. But you went back to university, you still had children in the process, completed your degree, and
Yeah.
how were you able to balance the cultural expectations and your personal desire to make something of yourself professionally?
So I think because one of the things that has really contributed to that positively was the fact that I was really young and energetic and
Mm,
hardworking. So I was, like I mentioned earlier, I was brought up in a very traditional House of Fulani
right.
setting where the whole tradition of taking care of a husband and taking care of a home was taught really, really well to
Mm.
us. So I made sure I did that well. I could cook well. I can still cook, I think, very well. Very well. I was taking care of my husband. I was doing everything at that time. But one of the things that I had that was really good for me was also the fact that I was studying in Kano and my parents are in Kano, and I have a very, very supportive
Mm,
husband. So I kind of had a lot of family support, which is something that we have very well in the north.
mm,
You find out that you have sisters, because I came from a very large family. You have sisters that have finished secondary school waiting for university that can come and help you before they start their own university. Or I drop the kids sometimes at home and go to university. Sometimes I remember that sometimes I take my daughter, my husband, before he goes to work, when he moved to Kano briefly. Before he goes to work, he would drop us in the university, and I would take my daughter to the hostel where my friends stay. And because my friends are not, they don't like reading very well, I got my daughter and her bag and run away. And they will be going around looking for me with my child, and I will be hiding in the library trying to read. So I was very young and a bit stupid, but I somehow managed to do it very well. I juggled. I tried to really conserve the tradition where I took care of my husband very well because he also took care of me very well. So we tried between the two of us to balance it. And of course, the family support really helped. I had sisters coming in, nieces coming in. I was dropping my daughter at my parents, so I was able to sort of juggle
Right.
between all that and be able to get educated at the same
That's
time.
fantastic. That's fantastic. So you go to Lagos, you do this IT training, and then you come back to Kano and decide that you want to set up a training facility, which turns out to be your first business. So how long did it take you to set it up, and how did you fund it? And what was the experience like?
Okay, so actually, before I went to Lagos, there's someone who had already the NIT license. So, as you know, NIT is an IT training
Mm.
center, is an Indian franchise that franchiser that gives you license to you can buy their
Right,
license and teach all these courses from Microsoft, Oracle, CompTIA, Linux, because you won't have the money to actually buy the Microsoft, Oracle, all the owners of technology
right,
licenses. So they have Terminus license, they buy it, and then the franchise, you buy their license and teach according to the way they set up trainings and all that. So there is someone who already has the license but could not set up the training center. So he initially it was sort of an employment kind of setting,
right.
and then I later took over and bought shares and established the training center. From the scratch. It did not take us time. We only had a space which he had and the license, and we started advertising the NIT courses because NIT supports you to actually establish the
Okay,
centers. So once you buy the license, you're entitled to the technical reference manual of how to teach, and they send in people to help you
okay.
teach and transition to the training. So we actually registered people. I remember that we registered people. We went door to
Wow.
door trying to get people to buy to register the courses. And NIT courses were not cheap because NIT has its own fees, Oracle has its own fees, either Microsoft has its own, depending on the the training you're
Hmm.
offering. Uh, so basically that's it. So we started with just 10 computers, and within a very short time we grew to
Wow.
60. After a while, we brought in other partners and tried to expand the business. So after a while, we trained a lot of IT
Hmm.
professionals. At some point, I felt, I felt we're not changing their lives. So they come in, they pay a lot of money and study Oracle, CompTIA, Linux, and all
Right.
that. And they're back to where they were before they came to us. So I started researching on what I could do to create
Hmm.
employment for those people. And I looked at India because I was dealing with India because of
Yeah.
NIIT. I looked at India and realized that business process outsourcing provides millions of jobs to Indians. And at the time that I was researching, it provided about 2.2 million jobs. And I looked at the parameters for outsourcing. We have in Nigeria, we have very good infrastructure. We have very good educated workforce. We have better time zone than India. We have, we speak English very
Yeah.
well. We have a large educated workforce that can speak English better than Indians. And I said, why not? Why not
Right.
Nigeria? So I started moving towards establishing the company. So it took me 8 years to start the company. I started it 4 times. I sold all my shares in the training center,
Okay.
and we basically moved on with the company, and I I started it in Kano. We were given a place in ICT Park then. It was a government initiative. We were so excited about it. A lot of problems happened with the ICT Park. We had to move. I had to move to Kaduna. When I say move, it means that I packed my family. Meanwhile, in between finishing university, establishing NIT, and getting to this position, I have two
Oh,
other
wow.
kids. So I ended up with 4 kids. And then this business that I'm trying to do. So I had to pack my 4 children and my family and move to Kaduna, teamed up with another investor.
Let me pause you. Amal, let me pause you for a minute. So when you started the company, when you decided to start the first time you started in Kano,
Yeah.
was it called Outsource Global at that time?
Okay, no, it was called Kipsos.
Okay, so but it's still the same idea. You're trying to start a business process outsourcing company.
Yes.
What was the particular challenge that made it fail in Kano the first time?
So in Kano, it was mainly investment and the fact that the whole idea was set up to exist within the ICT park,
Okay,
right? So a government initiative where we have sold the idea to the commissioner of ICT at that time in Kano. So this is something that will create a lot of employment for the people. It will bring in foreign direct investment. The GDP of Kano is going to improve because we are going to earn foreign exchange and all that. So we had ICT hub and a whole floor, third floor of the ICT hub that would take about 350 people to
wow.
start the center. So what we did from our own side, we partnered with an American company, consultancy company that provides this kind of research on how to establish companies like this. So BPO there, the name of the company is called Avasant. They came into Nigeria, they did a complete blueprint on
Right,
how to set it up because obviously I can have the idea, but how do I compete with India? How do I compete with Philippines? How do I set it up according to international standard? How do I use the existing infrastructure and resources
right.
available in Nigeria to be able to do it better than India and compete with India? So they came in, we paid a lot of money to them. They came in and they did a complete research and the blueprint, of how to set it up according to, international standard. So because ICT Park did not happen, whatever we invested in the ICT Park was,
Was gone.
and we had to move on, and
Wow.
because we had to start all over again, because I had to start all over again, I had to get another investor. So we did a research. Based on their research, they said Kaduna is the best at that time, is the best place to actually establish a BPO center because we are also going to recruit a lot of experts and they're very good and better schools in Kaduna than Kano, and it's a better environment. It's in between Abuja and Kano, and Abuja being the capital, it should be very easy for clients to come to Abuja and travel to Kaduna
Right.
and all that. So they felt Kaduna is the best place to actually set up a BPO, and then the investor at that time also proposed that it has to be in Kaduna.
Okay.
And so I packed my bag, packed my family,
Your four little
then
children.
4 children and a husband. Of course, my husband lives in Lagos, so he comes into Kano anyway every weekend. So we just moved. I just moved the kids and myself, and then it didn't happen in Kaduna,
Wow.
right? I would call that an investor problem.
Okay.
We got to almost 70% completion with the building. There was a building that was bought for this, the infrastructure, everything was being set up. We got to almost 70% completion. I had to pack my bag and start all over again.
Wow.
So I packed my bag, moved to Abuja. So
Abuja.
at that time, I did another research based on fiber optics, based on a lot of things, and it is actually better for the company to be in Abuja. There's one that we started in between that we set up with the same investor. We had a problem with the building and the landlord, and we were pushed out.
Wow.
So it's still the same company that we moved to, and we started all over again. So for me, fourth time was the charm.
Can I just ask how did you stay motivated in this whole eight-year period?
So for me, one I get this question a lot, and one of the things that I feel was a big motivator to me was the fact that I wasn't doing it for me. I wasn't doing it to make money, sort of. It wasn't, money was not the main focus.
Right.
The main focus was creation of employment. And I have seen the business, I have seen it all on paper, I've seen what it can do. And I've researched, I've looked at all the other BPO centers in India, how they have impacted on the lives of the people they have employed, on the region,
Right.
of how they have changed an entire society changes with just BPO. So for me, it wasn't about me. So I keep on trying and failing and trying again, because I always tell myself it doesn't matter how many times I need to try it again. I know it will go live at the right time, because I actually will continue doing my best to do it, but I rely 100% on God. So a lot of people would tell me that there is no way an American company would outsource a segment of its business to a Nigerian company. So yes, it has never been done. Nigeria is not a well-known outsourcing destination, is not a known outsourcing destination.
Right.
I'm in it, but I always tell myself that if I rely on God and continue doing what I'm doing, it will finally happen. And that's what actually happened. For once, I've never thought of giving up. For once, I've never thought of giving up, because it wasn't about me. It wasn't about how many times it fails. It was about the fact that once it goes live, the impact it will make is huge. So I have to make it go live, and that's what I was focused about.
Thank you for staying committed. Thank you for staying committed. That's fantastic. So you go live in 2016, and your focus is building this local company with, serving a global market. So tell us about Outsource Global.
So we went live with all these problems that I just told you about. We went live June 2016 with a domestic client. We went live June 2016, but I had no idea how to bring in an American business. I had no idea how to go and get an American business. So all these problems that I was telling you about is actually setup issues, because of course we realized from day one that we have to set it up according to international standard, with the right technology, with the right infrastructure, with everything, with the right processes. I had to bring in someone from Canada to actually help me set it up according to, and of course with the help of that American company, to help me set it up according to that standard that will position the company to compete with all these best centers in India. I was even looking at the average centers, the best centers in India. So even after setting up that, I had no idea how to bring in an American client. So I sat down one day in my office and trying to, of course, the American company that we have contracted, Avasant, is there. And we're brainstorming on what strategy to use, what social media strategy to use, what marketing strategy to use. But I knew that I had to just pack my bag and just go to the US and try to find somebody that will connect me with somebody that will give me
Right.
business. So I was sitting down in my office when one day one of our lawyers called me and said, "There's this guy who said he knows your dad. He was in Nigeria in the 80s. He was in Kano, and your dad helped him, and all that and all that. He would like to meet you." So I said, "Fine, let him come." So he came to the office, and I showed him around. This is what I'm trying to do. He said, "I'm a very close friend of your father's. Your father helped a lot of people during Peace Corps, and there are a lot of people in the US that will be willing to help you. So I'm going to go back to the US. I'm trying to create a program in Johns Hopkins University called Economic Reconstruction of Northern Nigeria in Washington, where I will invite you to speak, and then a lot of people will be there, and then it will be a good selling point for you." So he created this program in Johns Hopkins University, and I packed my bag, went to the US, and I presented to them, "This is what I feel BPO is what will change Northern Nigeria. And if we focus on BPO, it will change, it will create a lot of employment, it will change the region, it will do this, it will do that." So one of the students of that guy got up and said, "If you can come with me to San Francisco," he owns a very large company in San Francisco. "If you can come with me to San Francisco, I'll introduce you to a lot of people, and it's up to you to sell."
Right.
So I said, "Fine, when do we go to San Francisco?" He said, I'm going back tonight, but if you can meet me by Wednesday in San Francisco." It was a Monday. So by the next day, I was booking my tickets, I was packing my bag, and I was going to San Francisco. So I went to San Francisco, and he introduced me to a lot of people, about 15 people, 15 different companies, people. He was just setting up meetings for me. So I met each and every one of those people, and each and every one of them was telling me the same thing. Nigeria is not a known outsourcing destination. Yes, you have this video of your company. It's set up well. The processes are being set up well. Your ideas are in the right place, but you've never done it, So how can we move operations from well-known outsourcing destination, well-known, experienced people to you in Nigeria, So until I was connected to the last person, to the 15th person.
Wow.
So before I spoke to him, I told myself, this is how I'm going to sell. So by the time I got to him, I told him, "See, look, I know I'm inexperienced." I told him all the things that all those other 15 people said. "I know I'm inexperienced. I know Nigeria is not a known outsourcing destination. Give me 5 customer service seats free of charge. If you don't like it, you walk away. I'm going to give you for 3 months. I'll take care of connectivity, take care of everything. If you don't like it, you walk away."
Wow.
So he said, "I have nothing to lose," but he gave me 10 seats. So I came back to Nigeria, put the best accent. I got the best 10 people with the best accent, American accent. And then within a very short time, we proved each and every one of them wrong. That client now has over 300 seats with us.
Wow.
And we're doing different processes. So we have today created, is not just call center, it's not just telemarketing and customer service. We are also doing legal services. We take lawyers in the US, we take lawyers in Nigeria, and they work under lawyers in the US to solve actual US cases. We currently have about 70 lawyers serving the US market from Nigeria.
Wow.
We have people that are working on medical records. We take people with science background. that are able to work on medical records, and they process a lot of medical records for hospitals and companies in the US. We have started doing software development as a service. We've trained people based on the needs of companies in Silicon Valley, and they provide services for those companies. We have started doing artificial intelligence as a service. So we are currently training, doing a lot of machine learning jobs, speech recognition softwares and stuff like that. And we're taking people to actually do that. So we've changed the entire business model from the India Philippine model of vendor client relationship to a partnership where the focus of our organization or the focus of our business is to partner with the company to try and reduce cost and increase revenue for them. So the focus is to reduce cost and increase revenue. And whatever process we can take away from your company will find the right skill set in Nigeria to match that process, which will allow you to reduce a lot of costs. If you're taking those people in the US or UK or Japan, you'll be paying a lot of money for them, but you're getting it cheaper because labor is very cheap in Nigeria, and it's a win-win situation. So we're doing that, and the company grew from one center to 3 centers now. We have, I've gone back to Kaduna to so we have a head office in Abuja. We have another office in Kaduna and a small center in Lagos. So we are currently over 850 employees serving 3 different markets. But because we're serving US, UK, and Japan, because of artificial intelligence, we have partners in almost all the European countries. We have a partner in France, we have a partner in Germany, we have a partner in Sweden, we have a partner in Palestine. So we are trying to really create this working culture where Nigerians are able to work better than even the people working in the US. So, so let me pause a little.
That's fantastic. And how do you ensure your staff are able to maintain the value? You're serving multiple clients in multiple countries with multiple values and service levels. So how do you make sure there's something you're probably doing right that's allowing you to grow your business so quickly? So how do you make sure your staff maintain the right level of service for all these different clients?
Yeah, so it's very easy, and that's why we said we're changing the model. So usually for India and Philippines, the model is we know it, just give us the process and we just take and you pay us per hour per se. So what we have established, that's why I said from the beginning we did we paid money for a research that showed us how to do it better than India and Philippines. And one of the things that we have put in place is the right process to actually serve each and every company better. So from the recruitment, from the way we recruit, we take the best from the best. We can put like 200 people on a recruitment process, and we take like 10% of those people. So we bring in the best. And even after we bring you in, you go through 7 different exams. They go through our 4 core values, where we take only people with those 4 core values and we put them on a training that is the client training, right? So we work with the clients even sometimes during the selection. There are some clients that will prefer that, right? They will select their own candidate, just like the way they are recruiting in the US. Is the same way they will recruit the people that we are going to put on their process. Right. And a lot of them would train people just like the way they would employ people in the US. So our job is to bring in the right candidates that are trainable by the clients. And that's why it's a partnership, right? So they would train them the way they want to be served. And then on our own side, we would ensure that the performance metrics are met. All I needed to be was actually to be patient. So when I'm talking to people and I'm advising them, and I'm advising them in this way. So you may lose time at that time, but once it starts happening, you will gain that time back and much more. So all you need to do, all you have to do is endure and rely totally on God, because it's a lot of people would say that a lot of people advised me that there is no way this company can happen. There is no way. I always say in my mind, but God can make them give me. If an American company cannot would not give a God can make an American company give me. I just need to stay
Right.
true to what I'm doing. I need to keep doing what I'm doing to actually, achieve that. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Amal. That's very, very inspiring. So you're part of the Fortune US State Department Global Women's Mentoring Partnership. I hope I got that right.
Yes, you did.
So how did you get into the program, and how has that impacted you personally and professionally?
Yeah, thank you very much for that's a very good question. So there was a time a US ambassador visited our center when we were at 350 people. He visited our center in Kaduna, the US ambassador to Nigeria. His name is Stewart Simonton. He
Hmm.
wrote a story about me and the company in the US Embassy website. So after that, in 2018, they invited me to be among the 16 women to participate in this program. So the way the program works is they select 16 women around the world that are doing remarkable things that will impact in their different economies, and they're making
Hmm.
a huge impact in their societies, and they choose these women based on that criteria and many more. So the way the program is supposed to work, or the way the program works is they identify your business, they identify that you're making an impact, and you would make even much more impact if they come in and they give you a gap training. So
Okay.
that they do an analysis of where you are and the kind of gap training they will give you to actually do more. And I was selected among the 16 women that is participating in the program. It's one of the most interesting programs I have attended. I was taken to Washington. We were given a 1 week training in the way U.S. government works, how the program works, the support that we are able to access, or we can access within the U.S. government programs. And then we were moved to, some of us were moved to our mentor company. So our company is selected for you based on
Right.
the gap training, and a mentor who is part of the US Fortune Most Powerful Women will be selected to be your mentor to actually help
Okay.
you grow your business, you know. So it was a very interesting program. I was attached to a company called Younger Rubicon. Is a very big media company in New York, and the chief client officer, Shirley Diamond, was my mentor. And I was introduced. I was sort of working in that company to learn how they promote, how to promote my business, because what was missing was that the story and the social media and the media aspect and the selling of my business was really not realistic at the time that the program met me, because I was
Right.
sort of door to door selling. There was no way that the business can expand with that kind of marketing and selling. And that's what the program gave me. And it has really impacted in our business, in the sense that I was connected to the Fortune Most Powerful Women. I have the network of the 16 women, and so many other women I've met.
Right.
I've met a lot of them that are C-level executives or owners of businesses that are willing to give me business. So it's really made a huge impact in our business. Besides
That's fantastic.
that program also gave me another publicity. After
Okay.
participating in that program, I was invited to speak at the UNGA, uh,
Okay.
and a roundtable discussion of world leaders. Bill Gates was part of it. Justin Trudeau, the Canadian Prime Minister, UK Prime Minister Theresa May was there. So there were about 20 of us, and I was invited to actually speak at that event to speak about creation of employment in Africa. So that
Right.
program also gave me that kind of publicity, and it continues to give me. I have access to all those people. Any company that I see in the US that I want to have contact, I can always call any one of those contacts and try to get them to open those kind of doors, which is what the program was supposed to do for me.
Okay, that's excellent. So again on staffing, I noticed from your website that you say there's a 50-50 gender
Yeah.
balance at Outsource Global, which congratulations on that. But how have you managed to achieve that? Because not a lot of companies in Nigeria or in Africa can say that.
So thank you very much. So we make a very huge effort to actually recruit women because, of course, the call center environment is the kind of, after introducing our four core values, you find out that women really have a lot of those for those values when it comes to nurturing people. So a call center environment, for instance, the voice and calls, is actually based on motherly nature, and that's the kind of leadership we're trying to portray. In outsource, we're not trying to portray this authoritarian kind of leadership. We're trying to portray motivation and motivating people to work in a human way where people would love to work within the organization. So yes, a lot of females apply to outsource. We take a lot. Most of our leaders are women. Our COO is a woman, Nusaiba. Our operations director is a woman. Our head of accounts is a woman. Head of HR is a woman. We
Wow.
have facility and IT that are men. That's members of management. And you find out all the middle management, we have more positions like team lead positions are women because promotion is not based on the traditional way of promotion where only people with confidence and people that are able to sell themselves. So you find out that the natural quality of men is they are very confident and they're able to sell themselves, which as women our natural quality is not to do that. So you find out that if you put scorecard rating and the four core values as a measure for promotion, now we found ourselves promoting more women than men, meaning that
That's
they
interesting.
fit into that criteria, that algorithm that we have designed for promotion. So we have, at the end of the day, found ourselves with more women than men
That's
within
fun.
the
That's
organization.
interesting. That's interesting. So my final question to all my guests is what's next
Yeah.
for Amal? What's next for you?
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. I've been trying to think what's next for me. There are a lot of things that are next for me. So, in terms of outsource, we've made Nigeria an outsourcing destination, and we're trying to make Nigeria the premier outsourcing destination. We're trying to create employment for over 6,000 people within the next 5 years within outsource. So, in terms of the group and all our companies, we're trying to use technology to change Nigeria. So with all the other companies, all our companies are impacting in the economy of this country. And our plan, our dream, which is not too far, is to change this country, to use technology to do that. So with outsource, we're using technology to create employment. With another company of ours, we're using technology to automate healthcare and in federal hospitals. In another company, we're using technology to create an impact within education. So we are trying to use this to actually change this country. And that's what's next for us, to change Nigeria, to impact in the economy of this country. We believe we can do that, and we will work towards doing that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amal. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
That was Amal Hassan, founder and CEO of Outsource Global. Different things drive people to entrepreneurship, from the desire to do more with a passion to the frustration of problems and the desire to find solutions. In a country as populous as Nigeria, the lack of jobs is a major problem. We celebrate people like Amal, who through sheer grit and determination are not only creating jobs, but repositioning Nigeria as a premier destination for the outsourcing of business processes. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple or Google Podcasts, and while you're at it, please leave us a review. I'm Akego Koye, and you have been listening to African Business Stories.